In the upper left, he is Dream. In the bottom right, in the red for Kaizi Gaming, Spirit. But no, let's be real here, Frost Giant. You know what the answer is. We all know RTS fans, at least StarCraft fans, are rather elitist. So, with this being Stormgate, your subreddit needs to be referred to as members as gatekeepers. I think this is an excellent idea. There is no blowback for this one. I know you're trying to make, it's not like you're trying to make the game more accessible to new people and, you know, getting me really excited about being able to convince my partner to finally play an RTS with me and, you know, bring my friends involved and do 3v3 shenanigans. And no way. Zero chance this ever goes badly for you. Absolutely not. Hey, Tino Dotre. Tino Doter. Whatever your name is. However I pronounce your name, I apologize for not getting that right, but thanks so much for the follow. This is WTL. We're game 2. We got an A's match out of Team GP versus Kwangdong Freaks. Kwangdong did win that, unfortunately. Oh man, that is pretty great there for us Giant Studios. I never really was an AoE guy. It wasn't. I've played really one RTS heavily, and that was StarCraft 2. I got back into it in 2013. But I've been trying to convince my partner for years now. Like, hey, you should play you should play StarCraft with me. Like, I will teach you how to do it. It's gonna be fun. And she's like, well, you know, people have been playing it for so long. I'm gonna get crushed. I'm like, MMR is a thing. We'll play co-op, but you know, it doesn't have that night. Part of the problem, honestly, with getting her into it, is the fact that it's a 12-year-old game. So even if you have all these accessibility things that Frost Giant is talking about, it's a 12-year-old game. So it's like, oh well, everyone already knows what to do. I'm gonna get crushed. I mean, it's not quite how it works. Actually, Frost Giant, I'm curious. I don't know if this has been mentioned in anything, but when we talk about ladder onboarding, RTS games and a lot of games in general just kind of expect us to be okay with getting our faces caved in for like the first 50 games, right? As our MMR gets figured out. Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do, and she just hasn't been going for it. So I'm pretty convinced though that I'm gonna build the hype in her for Stormgate for a while. So at least she'll play one game with me. Hey Zebio, thanks so much for the resub. Zoinks. But maybe this is stuff that has not yet been announced. Using pair for radio as you donate MMR. Fantastic. Well done, Kabuki. But you're still typing in this chat, so maybe if you want to do better, you should be inputting games, and you know, putting your inputs in the game of StarCraft rather than typing in chat. But no, my question though is, have you given any thought to better ways to acknowledge that people are bad or good as we enter into ladder? Because regardless of all the other accessibility options, almost every MMR system just expects you to get your face caved in for quite a while until it normalizes your MMR and says, okay, you're bad or you're good. You're taking a break. Okay. Now, I don't know whether this is something you have an answer to, but it is something that I do find interesting. So. But okay, this is a TVT. We should probably talk about the game a little bit. It's fun to talk to Frost Giant about Frost Giant, but I'm also casting this game of StarCraft. So it's gonna be Raven. Well, 2 Ravens probably from both sides here from Dream and Spirit. And actually, I don't need to talk about this game anymore because it's a mirrored build on Pride of Altaris. This TVT is going a little bit late. Okay, fair enough. Do you have any? And well, actually, I'm gonna DM you this one so I don't put you in an awkward spot either way. I'm assuming I'm talking to Gerald here on the Frost Giant account. I sent you a message on Discord whether this is something I can ask about or whether you'd just rather not bring that discussion up. But where are we in this game? Right now, Dream, he owns the Xel'Naga, so he's got a little bit more map control, but as both players have opted, this is kind of what we expected. All right, well, we'll save that conversation for a later date then. Anyway, As both players have kind of opted into this late game scenario, it's Pride of Altaris is kind of hard to break your opponent anyways. Wait, Wernal, how does that even work? Like, would they rather have some people be 60 and some people for 40, or everyone believes they should have a greater than 50% win rate? What? What? How does that even... How does that even work? Like, I'm genuinely... how? How do you expect everyone to have a... It's just not how... That's just not how life works. I mean, I think in like Dota, I have a greater than 50% win rate because I've never played enough consistently to normalize my MMR. Like, I think lifetime, I'm like 52%. When you play co-op, sure. But I know you've been talking about co-op ladders, so there is that as the Reaper finds... Oh, the low ground command center. Just being a little bit... This is a 6-minute Reaper finding sick value. Kabuki, that would be a really... I have some friends in the psychology department of my university. That seems rather useful. Wait a minute. This got I guess the Raven got 4 kills. Reaper got some damage. 11 workers of Spirit suddenly going down. He finds himself at a 9-worker deficit as he runs onto the other side of the map. His commands, or he will not be able to really siege up the third base because, of course, Dream being a little bit more defensive there. This is a bit tricky now because in a lot of TVTs, you can say, yes, it's going to be great. I'm going to run across the map. I lost the value, but it still feels awkward. As the command center still not... Oh, he still hasn't restarted here, but he's going to try to find his way up. On the high ground, 4 tanks on the high ground, though, they say nuts to that one. And Dream will not be broken here. Now, the third base is going to take some fire, and it will not be allowed to land. But the command center is still not being built. The command center is just still sitting there. Spirit has forgotten about it. The 6-minute Reaper just finding too much value, and every time the Vikings run forward, we see a little bit more damage on these Ravens. It's a little bit harder now for Spirit to push his way in because he needs those Ravens to disable, and the more damage they take, the less likely it is that they get their disables off. So the one good thing he's doing technically is he's keeping Dream on 2 bases. He's a 3rd command center, but he's keeping him on 2 bases, which would be great if he had not waited until right now to reestablish mining. Okay, he's gonna win the Viking fight here. Good disable. So 1 Viking will fall. He can't run over the Marines, but now that he has air superiority, maybe he can start to find a little bit more. And eventually his 3rd base will complete. His stim is actually way far behind Dream, but stim is actually not all that important right now. Not that important for Dream because with these 4 or 5 tanks on the low ground, stemming into down that choke, you will lose your Marines. It's not really all that relevant. So the fact that Dream has it and Spirit doesn't really impact things. What does impact things mass. Oh my goodness, it impacts things so big. 1-1 is done for Dream. 1-1 just now getting started for Spirit. His upgrades are so gosh darn late. So if Dream can get a couple medevacs, drop 16 Marines on the right side, go in for a flank, he is going to be in an incredible spot to break this down. An incredible spot to break this down. But yeah, Kabuki, that would be a really interesting psychology experiment. Saying, yeah, we're going to go and not tell anyone because, of course, you need to control and see how that would work. Like, I don't know. I can imagine. I tell you what happened. People with enforced low win rates would quit the game, and people with enforced high win rates would be having a great time. But I don't know. Maybe you could do something about. You could do some studying on, like, game toxicity. I don't know. But now, what's our Viking count at? I don't know, but we will see 1 tank get disabled here. The Marines look to stem on the low ground. All the turrets getting dropped on top of everything. Looks like Spirit, I don't know whether he's winning the air fight just yet. Really hard to tell. Marines stemming on forward, but the upgrades see Spirit evaporate here, and the air battle does not even matter because everything on the ground, all the Marines, all the tanks, they're just dead. And now Dream, he's broken out. He's going to run his way onto the other side of the map here, trying to knock some Vikings down on that engagement, dropping a scan to try to kill more Vikings. But the second one actually not getting a good lock on just yet. One tank on siege. There's another lock on as well. But now I don't even know that 2 tanks keep Spirit alive necessarily. He's down 30 armor supply. He's down 2 upgrades on the bio, and functionally 3 because he doesn't have he doesn't have combat shields just yet, and Dream does. But this is so scary now. 1-1 combat shields are going to be done in just a second. So this timing, if Spirit wants to hit it, or Dream wants to hit it, he's got to hit it right now. He's going to stim on in. Only one tank firing off here, but with the SCVs getting pulled, stuff is going down. It's a decent hold, but not really enough. Enough of Dream's army remains that everything goes down. 16 SCVs go die. This third base will die. Nothing really is going to be able to save it. 2-2 just about done for Dream as well. And while a lot of the Marines did fall, actually good repair. Maybe this command center doesn't die, but while a lot of the Marines did fall from Dream, there's the continuous rally on over. 21 SCVs have died on top of the 11 that died earlier. And, well, it's just getting a little bit awkward. So tanks, they're going to siege up the high ground now. Oh, that's he's got him on the ramp. That's just even more obnoxious on that Reaper cliff. So Marines are going to try to knock this down, but one tank's not even going to be super reachable. 2-2 done in 10 seconds as well. So the Marines again will be much better. Tanks doing fantastic jobs killing things on the high ground. Now the Vikings aren't. This Viking is somewhat unreachable. But we have 2 medevacs that are still rather full. Marines trying to rotate on over to the main, dropping off once again on top of the Viking. No air superiority anymore because the Viking will just die, and it's double the army supply. Double the total supply of Dream versus Spirit. Quadruple the army supply. We're seeing barracks go down, production structures go down. Spirit has just come to terms with the fact that he has lost this game. But of course he does have another, and he will have map pick on that one. Those of you curious, by the way, this format has 3 prescribed map picks, so there we go. Spirit does GG out. Ah, what a great celebration. You're the one that I want. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Wow. What a beautiful voice I have, wouldn't you say? How incredible is that? Incredible. So now Dream up 1-0. Hardwire is going to be Spirit's map pick, and I don't think this surprises anyone necessarily. Spirit is a late game Terran. Spirit is a Terran that is happiest when he gets to 5 bases and has all this base control. Hope that space thing works out for you, because singing won't. Thank you, Kabuki. It's like when I was in high school, one of the reasons I got into casting in the first place, I mean years later, was I was one of the few people that was comfortable public speaking, and my headmaster came up to the school's headmaster came up to me at one point after I said, gave a speech, whatever, and he said, hey Philip, you have a really great voice for radio. And he was truly being complimentary. He was talking about my voice, but there's this phrase that says, hey, Joe, hey Philip, you got a face for radio. You have a fantastic face for radio. Which, oh, thank you, and except until you realize that there's no faces on the radio and it's saying you're ugly. So, we do have that. It's like, saying, hey, congratulations, friend. You're at the top of the bell curve. You're right up there at the tippy top. You're like, oh, thank you. It's like, no. It's not a compliment. Well, I mean, not really an insult either. It's saying you're average. Vast majority of people have to be average. That's how the bell curve works. It's not saying you're below average. It's saying you are, and in some things it is, for the most part, better. Better to be average. Because we as humans, we ascribe to norms. We ascribe to societal norms. So if you're kind of average in that and being able to interact in that scenario, that's going to be better for you. I don't know. We're getting deeply philosophical here. We're not talking about StarCraft or Frost Giant. I have deeply lost the plot in this conversation, so we're going to go away from it. As Dream is doing well, he's not doing the cure thing. I thought he was. Better than 49% of people. Kind of. Hey, Chris. How's it going? And hey, Grumpage. First time chatter. Wow. Amazing. How do you folks feel about the new Twitch thing where the first time chat is highlighted like that? Like there are a couple different ways you can choose to highlight the mods chatting or announcements or first time chatters, things like that. How do y'all feel about it? At least for now, there's not a lot to talk about in this TBT. It is really a mirrored opening. Well, I guess not quite. We do have Dream going for quicker Cyclones, and Spirit still committing to these earlier game units getting these Hellions. So it looks like it's going to be him that runs onto the other side of the map. Yeah, Chris, I do have a stream. I stream every Monday, EPT Korea, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Pacific. Sorry, that's EPTNA on Mondays. I stream. I have Bayo Bashes that are going to start becoming more regular. I'm out of town the 15th through the 21st, so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do one on the 14th. Or the 20th, or the 21st. And then I do EPT Korea on Saturday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, Grumpage. And then I'm also going to start doing WTL at far more Western, like North American accessible hours. I love WTL, the concept. I love team leagues, but 5 or 6 in the morning is not kind to the Bayo. It's not kind to people that have to work in North America. So I was like, you know what? I saw some success with it, like literally going live with WTL because I had to find some content last week to catch the DreamHack raids, and it worked out very well. I got 2 DreamHack raids, and we went up like 200 followers over the course of 2 days. It was great. But also because like it seems useful to me. So I will be doing these with no delay, 7 p.m. Eastern, Friday, Saturday, Sundays for the foreseeable future. Probably not next week because I will be out of town, but this is probably the easiest stream for me to set up. As if I stream, I am going to have to be on my partner's PC, which has a 980 Ti, and I can't do all the production value, and it's sad. Not as powerful as it once was. So, but this is easy. Like this is something I pull up the YouTube feed and I set up very minimal assets, and so I may do that next week. We'll see. But for now, Spirit, he's just shirking around a little bit. That is actually a lot of Hellions looking for a nice lineup here on the Marines, but as the tanks show up, 2 tanks are just far too much damage. They're going to annihilate everything. His Dream drop and scan. The main base says, hey, Spirit, what you up to, bud? What exactly are you doing? How's doing? What you doing? And he's going to see the 2 barracks go down. I don't think he saw... No, he did see the 3rd command center, so he's going to say, okay, 3 base play. As Reaper dives up, he doesn't really get much of anything, but it's a scout, and he says, okay, well, both players now know that this is going into the mid-game. 3rd base is on the way for both sides. Extra barracks going down for Dream, or for Spirit. Not quite for Dream just yet, but he's getting his E-base faster. I know, his E-base are slower too. The one thing we got to point out is, again, this game is just getting into the mid-game. First of all, Spirit committed to 3 Ravens. That is a lot more gas. That does technically mean he's going to have less tech as fast. But also, there's a second thing I was going to go for. Regardless. Oh, wait. No, never mind. Dream has also gone for 3 Ravens, so that's really interesting. This is also going to be a game, well, it's hard to push your way in, is now Dream, he's going to push back just a little bit. This early game army that Spirit committed to, that he really didn't find much value with, it will go down. The Hellions you're kind of okay with losing, but you don't want to lose the cycle, and that is a solid defensive tool, so that's really what's happening there. But now the army of Dream, of Spirit, they're both going to siege up here, but 2 tanks get disabled already. Autoturret's getting dropped on the rest, but the tanks of Dream, they're just absolutely out of range. The tank of Spirit is in range, so yes, the 2 disables are good. Auto turrets are fantastic, but the tanks of Spirit, they do carry the day. As now the Ravens forced on back here. Viking fight looks like just barely won by Dream. But Spirit is going to be able to unstage his tanks, run them back. I don't want to lose the Raven. Don't want to lose the Raven, and he will not, but now Marines run forward. Spirit, pretty nice 20 army supply lead all of a sudden. Finding himself in a wonderful position. He wins that fight. He's up 3 workers. He's up 7 army supply. His 1-1 is just about timed out the same. His stim timed out just about the same. So we're not going to see this game that we saw in game number 1 where Spirit was in a good spot, but where Spirit had a good siege, but his upgrades were so delayed that Dream hit these 1-1 and 2-2 timings that just killed. It just absolutely killed Spirit. But yeah, Ikari is you're glad to see high level games. I mean, I enjoy casting high level games. I don't really play StarCraft on this channel. That's not the focus of it. I mean, depending on what happens with Frost Giant, and I don't know if Frost Giant's still in chat or not. Depending on what happens with the beta, if they let us stream it, I'm absolutely going to be placed. I'm going to be, sorry, Stormgate. I'm so used to calling it the Frost Giant RTS, but if they let us stream Stormgate, I'll be producing all sorts of content around it. Thank you, Acreus. Again, I was told I have a voice for radio. Maybe they were saying something about my face. I don't know, but I appreciate it. Okay, yeah, I'm not expecting you to commit to that right now, but if we are allowed to stream it, at whatever point we're allowed to stream it, I will be playing that. Like, you're going to be seeing some horrible level Frost Giant gameplay, because no one's going to know. But in all seriousness, the most fun I ever had in StarCraft, and I do still truly love the game. The most fun I ever had in StarCraft was like the 3 months after Legacy release, because I got started in 2013. That was after HOTS, where I got started mid 2013. That was after HOTS was released, etc., etc., etc. But Legacy was the Void released. No one knew what we were doing. So I was just, I had no pressure to be good. I just had pressure to figure out what was happening, how to play the game again. And it was just so much fun. I was playing, sometimes there were times you're playing StarCraft, like, I gotta play my X number of games today to keep myself in shape, and it's kind of a slog. And then you start playing, you're fine. I was excited to squeeze in every single game I could play. And I'm excited to experience that one again, because I get to learn an entirely new game system based off that Blizzard RTS model. But for now, the drop doesn't look like it gets all that much from Dream. Spirit now getting active on that. Minor army supply, but folks, we got to remember this is TVT. Army supply leads are false for the most part. Also, hey, Pred561, glad you're here. And ENM7. Army supply leads in TVT, if you cannot go kill your opponent with it, they are kind of false. So we're going to have to see whether Spirit can look to kill his opponent with that. Is Dream, he's up a couple workers, but they're both on 4 bases. Not really the biggest of deals. 2-2 timed out. Looks like fairly similarly. It looks like Dream has a minor lead there, but nothing too significant. So as we go into 4 base, 5 base scenarios, as the map gets more expansive. Okay, dropping the main base here. 8 Marines are going to go try to find something, knock down that 5 worker lead. It's kind of the bare minimum. But even still, I mean, it's 5 workers. They're both on the same number of bases. Doesn't really matter. Yes, Stormgate Frost Giant, or Storm Giant Frostgate. There we go. But you know what? 5 worker lead, that's fine. 18, 23 workers, an entire mineral line getting evaporated there by Spirit. That is something he's going to be a little bit more happy about. But also it means he doesn't really need to make something happen with this push. He wants to. He would love to. But he doesn't need to, because he's just knocked his opponent down 30 workers. His economy is so far outstripping Dreams at this point that he can just go take another base. That he can just go start to dominate the map more. He does not need to break him now. Because, of course, he wants to buy time. He wants to build time in for the economic lead to really start to bear through, but he's going to find his way out anyways here. 1 tank will be disabled, but there are still more that came from Marines just absolutely explode. 22 army supply lead. 2-2 not yet done, so the bio of Spirit, they got to be a little careful. They got to wait a little bit. But these tanks are so damn powerful that it doesn't matter that honestly, the upgrade lead almost doesn't matter, because you can't take the fight around the tank line. Increase, I've seen them, but I have seen screenshots. I haven't really taken a look at them in earnest. I'm hoping all 7 of them. I'm hoping fully all 7 of them go and get we get the entire map pool replaced, or we delete 5, we add 7, and we have a 9 map pool with 2 bands in best of 7. I've been pushing them for this for a while. I'll be happy to talk about it, but right now we have Spirit posturing on the map here. He does have his 5th base, so he's in a good spot there. As the Liberator continues to find value. But because Spirit has such an economic lead right now, because he just has such a map control lead on top of that, because Dream is just trying to turtle hard, building something back into this game, it is so easy now for him to just dominate the map. He has more workers, he has more army, but again, it's hard to break your opponent. Tanks are a powerful thing. I'm very surprised to not see additional starports going down. Maybe I missed that. But I'm very much surprised to see Spirit not transitioning into the Mass Raven tech. But okay, drop here, or I could run by actually on the left side. Gonna find a couple more SCVs, just keeping the poor and the rich in this game. But again, Spirit just owning the middle of the map. Chris, you're right. We do need new content. I think we need more map diversity. And I really respect pro players. I really respect their opinions. I think giving pro players such a strong say in what maps we choose has been a net deficit over the course of StarCraft's history. Like, we need pro player opinions and maps. They have the best understanding of how the game is played. Absolutely. But they're also always going to favor maps that are more standard and that do not give anyone any sort of advantage one way. So for example, 4-player maps and 3-player maps are gone, because pro players specifically say we don't want 4-player maps. We don't want that randomness involved. No, I mean, we have a lot of casters in Masters. I think every active caster right now is Masters GM level player, or at least has been relatively recently, or has been for a long period of time. And now Spirit trying to siege up here. We're going to see Liberators, well, they're going to own the air, and while Spirit has a significant army supply lead, and the thing is, he does not own the air here. We're going to see one orbital getting very low, but we don't have it selected, don't really know what's happening there. Liberator is going to force some of these tanks off, and actually, in general, Spirit's going to be forced back just a little bit. And this may buy Spirit the opportunity, or Dream, excuse me, the opportunity that he needs to go and to finally take that 5th base. And Spirit has not taken the map. He has his 5th base set up for a while, but we've not seen him take a 6th base. We've not seen him take a 7th base. We've not seen that transition into, well, I guess he is on a lot of starports. He's building 8 Vikings and a Liberator at a time, so I'm wrong there. Okay. Okay, so now as the Liberators siege up here, it is starting to force the tanks back of Spirit, but as Spirit just adds so much more air superiority, we do have double armory now, so we're going to see +1 air weapons, +1 mech armor coming on out, 8 Vikings, 6 Vikings at a time. Spirit, as long as he can slow this push down pretty quickly, he is almost okay at losing some stuff, because it will allow him to transition into that late game Sky Terran ideas. The Marines run on forward. They're just dying here. Spirit, he's winning the battle in the air as well. I think... Yeah, so he's winning the battle in the air here as well. Liberator on the other side getting a bunch of workers on 2 mineral lines. 11 workers have fallen, but you got to be careful because now here comes the Marines. Here comes the tanks trying to knock down the army on the ground, which is so scary because the air transition is powerful, sure, but you still need to be able to kill buildings. You still need to be able to kill stuff on the ground here. So Spirit's now forced back into his natural. So the tanks of Dream find their way on, and he's looking for a comeback in this game. He's been knocked back for so damn long. But as the tanks, they siege out the natural, they're causing so many problems, but there are no Marines to kill these Vikings. And the Vikings, they land on top of everything. They shred all the mechanical units, and Spirit doubling the supply. Now the last-ditch fight of Dream does not work. 78 workers to 36, 78 army supply to 28. Dream is going to scan at the bottom right. It is a 1-1 scoreline here. Spirit ties it up. Let's get into this next game. Time versus Rattata. And Rattata has been playing really well recently. He is, of course, a Rochi boy. We saw him look really good. Oh, wait a minute. I'm so used to just GIF being GIF that I forgot there was a controversy about whether it's GIF or GIF. But I do enjoy some GIF peanut butter. So that's all I have to say about that. I've been memed upon. I didn't even notice. This is unacceptable. But I'm glad at least we have intelligent people in my chat for when Bayo is unintelligent. So, what do we have in this game here? Time is terrifying, and it's really sad. I hear well, I don't even know that I hear rumors. It sounds like right. When Legacy came out, I think I played through like half the campaign in one night, and played the other half the next night. And I'm not even a campaign guy. Like, I got into StarCraft for the multiplayer, but I was just so damn excited. And I told myself I couldn't play multiplayer. I had to wait to hit ladder until I finished the campaign. So I was like, oh, we're feeding this. It was my freshman year of undergrad. I had like this tiny little desk, got a gaming, like this gaming laptop. I didn't have room for, barely had room for a mouse. It was a good time. But Time, it sounds like he's not going to be able to go to Valencia. I don't have that confirmed, but I think that's what I've heard. And I don't think Home Story Cup either. Maybe because they're close enough, we're going to be okay. But the Chinese visa, the fact that you need like a 28-day quarantine to get back into China is really making it hard for us to see these players outside of China, which is a shame because Time is really good. Acres, I mean, relatable, but see, I still define my self-worth by my GPA, even if I don't have a GPA anymore. So I couldn't skip school. I just didn't sleep. And yeah, Stormgate does look really good. I'm excited to see the secret thing that they have on Sunday, and for you all to see more of what I have been told about. War Scarlet is Stormgate secretly a card game where you just have to pull the highest level card, the highest number on the card? Is that how that works? I played a lot of War growing up. I'm an excellent player of War. because there's so much skill involved. Well, what do we got in this game? Starport on the way, third base on the way. We're going into, well, a pretty reasonable game. Time moving on to quick third base. And I don't, this feels like such a stylistic thing, where on the one hand, I really don't like quick 3cc play because it feels like the Zerg just grows unfettered, but on Berlingrad, you can maybe put a little bit more pressure on, and time feels like one of those Terrans where you actually can do something, like where he can actually go and defend these 3 bases and not just get overrun. He can put enough pressure on with not having, say, a 2-base setup, a 3-1-1 or 2-1-1 type of Marine composition. So we're gonna have to see. Yeah, I know. Ikri is. I don't know. There are any clips. I know there's clips of Wardy reacting or getting excited about the Stormgate trailer, but I was very excited. Like I saw the stuff at a time, didn't stop me from being excited about it. And hey, Frostshine, here's my question. I don't know if there's an answer to this. Is Kara LaForge going to be one of the people on the panel on Sunday? Are we gonna have? Is Day9 going to be able to interview his mom about the game she's making? I don't know that I shed a tear, but I was pumping fists when they were talking. Like I'm so excited. And now I'm gonna have to wait like 6 months, a year and a half, however long it's gonna be until the beta, until I can actually get my hands on it. Well, I can wait. No, look, I'm waiting 4 years to get my PhD. I can wait 6 months to get it, to get the RTS I'm gonna play for the next 15 years. Anyways, Hellions now, they're sharking around trying to find something, but Queen's in the middle of a line of sight blocker. Does mean it does mean that they were able to get some good shots off. Is the Banshee, it doesn't get much either. So Rattata not getting much damage. He is able to get his creep spread in decent. It's not incredible. A shout out to the game I cast with Reynor recent. What's that game? It was B stream. Was it B stream during DreamHack? No, was it A stream during? Anyway, cast a game with Reynor where he had his creep on the other, like outside of the third base by 8 minutes. Okay, so even the people that would be on the panel are too much spoilers. That's fair, understandable. I'll be watching anyways. I'm excited to find out. I just the footage of I just want to see Dane, like I want to see Sean just freaking out about it, something that his mom has made with her, that like, I don't know, the world cannot contain so much wholesomeness. You understand it. At some point that needs to happen, regardless of whether it's at this panel or not. What we actually need is we need Sean and Nick both freaking out with Kara, Mrs. LaForge, with Kara about it, because I mean that's just the wholesome content we need in this space. It will be live streamed, but okay, for now, time really not succeeding in getting too much damage done. Rattata, fourth base on the way. 1-1 is going to be timed out decently well. But Rattata is actually going to have a really quick Hydra Den in this game, finishing up before the 7-minute mark. So he's just going to really commit hard to Hydraling Bane play. I do think it's interesting that he committed to a Hydra Den before Baneling speed completing. All right, so I think he got because we want Ling Bane. It's all about Ling Bane, and specifically Ling with Bane speed to hold off these initial pushes from the Terran. But because it's 3cc play, Rattata is going to be... He's going to be okay with it, right? The push is not going to be too scary. We do need to point out, by the way, that Rattata's creep spread is not really outside of the fourth base. So that is a pushing position that time may look to go for, as now he's going to go get an Overlord. But Rattata not getting supply block here. Banelings get really not much of a connection, but a lot of creep has been knocked down, and Queens are not really there. So we will start to see it proceed rather quickly. Also, friends, because we're watching a TVC, Lings are going to try to find the drop in the middle of the map here, knock that down. Baneling speed is now done, by the way. What are your thoughts on map changing mechanics? Steadfast, Up a Tree, and I talked a long time about this yesterday when we just had a call on Steadfast's and Sal's stream and my stream for a little bit, where we're talking about like the concept of creep. As this drop's going to run on forward, it's going to try to find... Oh, good target fire! He gets, what was that, 3 Banes, picks up, doesn't really lose much of anything. Great job there, time. But we were talking about this idea of like, should creep be in an RTS or a Blizzard-style RTS? This thing that really changes how the map works. Because on the one hand, it's fantastic. It's visually enticing. It really shows a great visceral idea of how map control works. But there's also an argument to be made that the vision it provides and the speed buffs and all the bonuses it provides are maybe a little bit too strong. Like, should there be, we got a little bit of a pause here. Hey, I can talk about this more. Should there be mechanics that viscerally and tangibly change the way the map is interacted with that different races have access to? Right? I think that's a really interesting question. And I'm not, again, this is not something I'm specifically asking Frost Giant to weigh in on. I'm just, well, Frost Giant, he's here, and I've been talking about Frost Giant for, I'm really excited. It is something that I think is rather interesting. I think in the same ways, like, should we have the ability to move you, like to mass teleport you, like a mothership recall or a warp in or something like that? When we're able to look at good idea at elements of mechanics in a vacuum, how does that really work? Drop there on the left side. And Rattata, his creep spread is good, but again, it's not in his opponent's third base by 9 minutes, so is it really all that good? I don't know. No, Frost Giant, no worries. I was just talking about RTS mechanics. I'm saying, like, should you? This was more of a generic question, talking to Twitch chat, not necessarily you, in terms of like, oh, good wit on my shot. There's 6 workers go down. Like, should creep be a thing? Like, should these map redefining mechanics for one race or one faction or another that viscerally change the way you interact with the map? Is that something that adds to an RTS, or is that something that causes more problems than it's worth? The argument can be made that creep is OP and is the reason that Zerg is so strong. I don't know. But that was just a question posed to the chat because we had a break. I know Steadfast, Uppetry, and I had a long conversation about that on Steadfast and Uppetry's stream yesterday. Anyways, lanes are going to run on in. Good win of mine shots right now, but this is a massive concave finding their way on in from Rattata here, but only half the army at once. Time still kind of winning this fight, but more banelings rolling on in, but they're not enough. Rattata forced back. Your time he holds, and at the end of the day, that's a pretty even trade. That'd be interesting. Like, I feel like warp gate, or the ability to warp in power fields, is the most controversial and the most talked about mechanic in StarCraft, and is probably the reason why Protoss can never be balanced properly. Hey, Vent fan. What type of fans are you a fan of? Like computer fans, window fans, circular fans, only the fans and vents? But okay, now the bio's stimming in. We'll see a queen go down, but not the biggest of deals. Time has done a great job, though, of wedging himself into this position on the right side. But there's creep elsewhere, but there's just not a lot of creep right here. So with this pre-split, Time's doing a great job, but now Rattata saying, okay, your army's on the other side. Let me go for a counterattack here. Baneling's looking to roll on in, but good target fire with the tanks as well. So the Banelings do not make their engagement happen. More rolling on in, but tanks on the backside. Good splits here from Time, doing such a fantastic job. Meanwhile, 19 SCVs have died on the other side, but now Time has found his way in to the 4th base. It's opened that one up. That is a dead base. We're going to see another workers go down because Rattata has not gone and pulled them away in time. So what is going to be 23 odd workers should fall here. We're equalizing all the damage that Time took on the other side. Liberator now sieged up, and we do have Vipers on the field. And this army, oh, that's a lot of damage, but even still, it's going to pick up. Enough will survive. Rattata, he's only on 120 army supply. He says, get me out of here. We got to go to game 2. We can engage in pointless conjecture about things that may or may not happen, and I think that's pretty fun. And what I actually think really interesting about, say, a 4th race, going from a 4th asymmetrically designed race, because AoE has what, 12 factions, but they're all kind of the same thing with marginally different abilities. Is it adds so many more matchups, which really does, not only does it make balancing difficult. That's true. Conjecture is never pointless, Sebio. It's always fun. There's a point to it, and the point is having fun. Yeah, so you add in all these additional matchups, and I know one thing. If any of you all listen to the Fear Dragon interview, which I highly recommend you do if you're excited about Frost Giant or you want to know more stuff about it. One thing Kevin Dong, Monk, Solid Monk, one of the lead designers of Frost Giant. One of the things he was talking about was he wanted to decrease the knowledge burden to get into the game. Then the example he used was, okay, you need to wall off in certain ways if you're Protoss, or if you're Terran, and even if you're Zerg in certain circumstances. And that's not something that is evident. That's something you have to learn by playing the game or interacting with the community. One could argue that adding that 4th race and having What, you would add 4 additional matchups? Yeah, you would just add 4 additional matchups, I think. That significantly decreases the burden to be good. The burden to be able to play the game at a decent level. Right? I mean that even for someone who's into the game, it takes even if I'm just learning 1 build per race, I have to learn a 4th build. And ideally, you're playing more than 1 build as you get higher up, and it just exponentially increases the knowledge load, which actually could be really cool because it decreases the chance that the game gets solved, I guess. If you think about it, because if there are just enough factions that you're not going to have, like, it's going to be really hard to have really ironed down and perfected builds for every matchup. Like what we see in Counter-Strike, where I'm not a big Counter-Strike fan, but I do follow it enough, where you have a bunch of different maps. And you have maps that certain teams just don't practice. Like during the Astralis era, you had Nuke, and Astralis practiced Nuke, and no one else practiced Nuke, so you just had a free ban. Like Astralis had a free ban, or you play on Nuke and you would get beaten down, or things like that, where the game was interesting because you had someone, or you had a team in this case, that would actively practice things that other people, and they were able to focus on that some other people weren't able to focus on as much, and then you did have that asymmetric interest. I don't know whether that really translates to 1v1 or even say 3v3 esports necessarily, but it could be interesting. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Yesterday, I tried to make the argument that a ghost was a capital ship because they fill a similar role, and I got I got many laughing emotes in chat about that. I don't think I'm wrong though. They kind of fill a similar role. They're just not ships. Second question for you all: how do you feel about burst damage? Because I know Frost Giant has really talked about increasing time to kill. As we see time move on out here with a couple. Ooh, wait a minute. We got to talk about this build a little bit. I got so excited talking about Frost Giant, but a bunch of Hellions are here running across the map with Marines as well. I'm assuming there's an armory on the map just because of this build, but there is a fleet beacon behind this. So we're going to see Marine, Hellion pressure, maybe Hellbat pressure. No, I don't think I saw an armory. So Marine, Hellion pressure trying to find their way on in. Ideally, he gets Queens. He gets Queens. That means that the battlecruiser will be that much more powerful, but he doesn't really feel confident in doing so right now. So time will back up just a little bit. Creep gets respread. And we got to point out, of course, this was Rattata's map pick. Pride of Altaris is a Zergy map. It's a Zoigy map. But to put an idea in everyone's heads, how do we feel about burst damage? Because in something I agree with, burst damage right now feels a little bit too punishing in StarCraft 2. Like you look away for a second, and disruptors they just blow up your entire army, banelings, whatever. But on the flip side, baneling bombs and Urod banelings and this Ling Bane versus Bio dance has given us some of the best esports moments we've ever had. Some of the best StarCraft moments we've had, right? Think Scarlet Bomber, Red Bull Battlegrounds, Game 3 on Habitation Station. But I don't know that you can have burst damage and also decrease time to kill, or increase time to kill. All right, that's what. So I don't know where I stand on that one. I'm interested to hear what you all have to say about that, because I think that is an interesting discussion. I know when Sal and Steadfast and I were talking about this, we were talking about, okay, well, maybe burst damage does most of the damage. So disruptors never one-shot things, but they two-shot. They two-shot everything. So, it brings everything down to 1 HP, and then you have, a plague or something. His battlecruiser finds its way in the main base here. And the Marines drop as well, trying to buffer for things. This is getting really complicated. A really cool build here from Time, as how much stuff happens. But there are 2 spores in the main base. This battlecruiser can't hang around for all that long. But the Queens, now they're all dead. Marines get out. 5 workers go down. Rattata is handling this very well. And the medevac gets very low. Medevac gets very low indeed. But this is Mac, by the way, coming in from Time as he dives into natural, and this is where things start to cause a problem. 16 workers go down, 1 more lineup. Can the Hellions find their way through? No, they don't. But still 17 workers die, and that's where things start to get a little bit more problematic here. 4th base on the way for Rattata right now. And by Zebio, I said burst damage as an instantaneous damage rather than like first damage, like Reaper gets the first shot off, or Reaper battle, something like that. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. All right. So now the roaches find their way onto the other side, and they will force the third base to lift. But with 2 battle cruisers here and eventually some tanks and other things, it's going to be fine. And of course, with the Yamato, I mean, we knew this was mech. This was double factory Hellion production, but we want further confirmation that it's mech. Yamato cannon's on the way. So the battle cruisers are going to be able to do that much more. And Time has put himself in absolutely the type of position that he wants to find himself into. That's fair, External Punch. I mean, I don't have a solid answer here. I think staying with like the StarCraft 2 level of how fast a fight goes is valid. I think going more towards the Brood War style of things is also valid. I don't know that one is necessarily better for one versus the other unless we talk about approachability or something. But I just know that that is what Frost Giant is talking about wanting to go into. And I know the community for a while has been complaining about how StarCraft the time to kill is too fast. Like the fights are over too quickly. All right, so now the battle crews, they're going to show up, and with the corrupt, actually not a lot of corruptors, so we're going to see it. They can, as we add more, yeah, they're going to Yamato teleport out. There we go. Running away. Oh, my mouse is at 7%. 1 second. The wireless mouse, I always forget to charge, so I have to charge it wirelessly anyways, or it's wired anyways, even though I do have a wireless charger. Fantastic. Aliens find their way in, though, onto this 4th base. They're not going to get all that much, and Rattata is starting to max out. But sometimes we have these weird ZV mech games where the meching Terran doesn't quite hit the right composition, and even if the Zerg takes 20 damage, or 20 workers of damage early, which has happened in this game, you still have this problem where the Zerg just overruns Corruptor, Roach, Ravage, or something like that. But Time is starting to approach that line of inflection. 150 supply, 1-1 done, where it becomes a lot harder to beat the meching Terran. It really is that 150 supply mark here, but the Corruptors now, they're going to start peeing on the planetary and find a little bit more value there. There's actually not a lot of value to this, and it's just going to go down. There we go. That's a great move from Rattata to start his comeback in this game, killing a base that's not yet a planetary. Well, that works out well, because there was, what, 2 Thors, high impact payload, not really doing all that much. Okay, so Lings, Roaches, Ravagers now, they're going to try to find their way in. Bile's getting dropped on Thors, actually, and tanks. They're going to get the meta with Widowmine as well, but they go up, they trade, they back up. That is exactly what you want to do. You don't ever want to take one big fight against a mech player if you are a Zerg. Not really, as battle cruisers are going to get found out here. So we're going to see the double Yamato into Blink, but actually I think one of those battle cruisers is dead. Second one gets out, but you will gladly trade 2 Corruptors for a battle cruiser, especially as those Corruptors have been so beneficial in killing off a base of Time as well. But we have to remember, while Time has made, or Rattata has made a bunch of great moves in the last minute or two, he still does not have a hive. This is still part of Altaris. It is still nigh impossible to break a Turtle League player until maybe they get to 5 bases, maybe even 6, honestly. You have to force him into a low ground scenario. So while Time was delayed in getting onto his 4 bases, while Time was delayed maybe in maxing out a little bit, while Time has lost the battle cruiser, pushing into a position like this is so damn hard for Rattata. He's going to try anyways. Biles get dropped, not really getting much of anything. Trying to kite the Hellbats out of range of the tanks. But he doesn't really get that. But what this has done is trying to buy room, so we're going to see Corruptors once again dive on into the planetary. They're going to go and forced out this time. Too many missile turrets, too many battle cruisers, too many Thors. Although I don't know whether there are any Thors right there. So just too much of stuff. Corruptors not getting the kill once again. So Burst should have priority as an ST2. How about non-lethal Burst? I think that's the something I find really intriguing, where Burst does a lot of stuff. Like, take Storm. Storm, I think, is a fantastically balanced Burst idea where it'll kill things, but you have to stay in it for a second. And even if you don't stay in it, you do take tremendous damage on your army, and it is significant, but it does not at the highest levels, it does not it does not instantaneously end the game. I don't know. But now the Corruptors now trying to dive on forward. Ling's getting on top of these tanks, maybe making something happen. But the Roaches and Corruptors, they're just all balled up here. But Biles land. That will force back. But time is not really dropping below 170, under 65 supply right now. Ideally, if you're looking at how this is going for the Zerg, you want him dropping him below 150. Hey, Dabsy Malone. I can see that. Actually, one thing I do think we need to see. I think, hey, Wernal, the new Scarlet emote, the camping emote. Yep, that is perfect for this game. Absolutely perfect for this game. But one thing I do want to see, and one thing that it's always kind of bugged me a little bit. So we can't make the argument right now because Zerg is arguably maybe the strongest race. I certainly think I don't think ZVP is nearly as imbalanced as it used to be, as it was for like the last 2 years. But it's always kind of bothered me that the other two races have a way to counterplay spellcasters, and Zerg really doesn't. You know, we have EMP, you have feedback, and good positioning is maybe an argument, but Zerg just doesn't really have a way to counterplay other spellcasters. And things like that, where it doesn't have to be approached in the same way. EMP doesn't do damage, it just removes shields, and feedback does damage and used to pop infestors and whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to go out of the same way. Maybe a Zerg would having a lockdown effect. You know, whatever it is. But I think I'm hopeful that we're going to see all races have as Road Ravagers go in, Road Ravagers go out. Can't explain that. I think it would be very beneficial to make sure that some level of counterplaying spellcasters or just counterplaying mechanics is available to every faction in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be the same way as a Battle Cruiser does fall. I mean, Solar Flare Warnel, I don't know. Hey, Food Industry, thank you so much for the sub. Road Ravagers go in, Road Ravagers go out. Road Ravagers go in and shake it all about as the time now running onto the other side of the map with this. It's kind of a 2-2 timing, but really it is more of a maxed out timing. 3-3 is on the way, and he's adding Drilling Claws because that's actually, we've seen some Widow Mines getting added into mech in the late game. It actually seems really useful as now Roach's Ravagers trying to find their way in. Again, folks, we got to remember, this battle that Rattata is fighting is not one battle. He's going to try to take 3 or 4 fights. He has killed the gold base now. That's fantastic. And oh, good scan. Infestors will not get their neural off. Oh, well, another infestor. He's trying to take multiple fights. He wants to go in and slowly kill this army off while he takes advantage of his significant economic lead. But he has to make sure his rally doesn't go in a weird spot. Hey, Kreese, I don't mean to be keeping you awake here, but now Roaches and Ravagers again trying to find their way on in. Before 3-3 is done, Biles are landing, but the Thors are still damn powerful. Folks, did you know that a fully upgraded Thor does as much damage, does more damage actually than a DT, and they have 450 HP? Just saying. Thors have been on my chopping balance block for years, and I'm going to be the bias cast for a second, but Corruptors looks like they're going to get another base. But time now, he's wedging his way into these scary spots where Rattata is going to struggle, even as he's the money, is going to struggle to remax because now time is finding his position where the rallies are going to be. So we're going to start to see units die as they pop, and that is really the scariest thing here. Corruptors are doing a great job. I think Solar Flare, Solar Flares are effectively EMPs, and you can have longer duration EMPs, or you can have like radiation fields or something where technically the energy would go down. Yeah, exactly, EM radiation. So where you would kind of kill the technological device by just putting it in a radiation field, much like irradiate from the science vessel. Not the same mechanics, same name. Time though, he's killed off the gold base. He's killed off the third. He's now pushing into this 4th base, and the infestors, they just got to get neurals, but they don't have that just yet. So getting these infestors before neural being done, I don't really know. Like, Fungal doesn't really do much for this army. It's like, oh, that'd be really cool as a defensive, like a defensive building. Like instead of missile turrets, you have like EM building or anti-energy buildings. Those Corruptors are just going down. Thank you, high impact payload Thors. They're Pop, 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 pop. Hey, Gerald. Catch you around. Enjoy your food. I still need to have dinner. I still need to make dinner. But, I got busy with getting work done, and then I realized I said I was going to cast a 7, so AO does not stop it. Oh, those are actually going to be really good biles. A bunch of tanks fall, but not enough. And Rattata, his bank is rapidly dwindling. He was at 3k for a while, but he keeps losing bases, keeps being unable to trade efficiently, and now Time is the one that has the bank. Now Time is the one that really has this map control that Rattata has been trying to build this entire game. All right, but now here comes again another fight coming in from Rattata here, dropping biles, but really not getting much. Orbital or Grumpage, what did you say? What did you send Frost Giant an email about? You trying to bribe them with cookies to get into the beta faster? Is that what you're doing? I see through you. I see what you're up to. But here, Ravagers, Roaches again, trying to find their way on in. Biles again, they're getting a tank, but they're not getting the juicy multi-tank shots. And in Rattata right now, he's at 140 supply. His opponent continues to max out. Rattata now out of money. He's mining more, but he's out of money. And yeah, sure, this 6 o'clock base isn't getting much. And sure, Rattata's technically taking bases from Time. But I don't know how much it matters anymore. I really do not know how much it matters at the end of the day. Because Time has a bank. Time is 5k, 3k. He's killing off everything. These Thors are just, they're not dying. They're just absolutely not dying. We're going to see some Carapace or some upgrade. Well, okay, there's a dead Thor. I lied. But we're going to see upgrades get denied. +1 armor, +3 attack on melee going down. Time building 2 commander centers at the same time at the same spot because that's just fun. And this should be the last fight here coming in from Rattata. He's not going to be able to, well, he might be able to break this position, I guess. But he's fallen down below 100, almost below 100 supply for a second. Things are going down. Okay, he does clean up the army. Hey, Dabsy Malone, I'm glad you enjoyed DreamHack. I cannot believe that I went from literally starting casting for like any serious way 2 years ago. It was February 12th, I think, that I got accepted. February 12th, 2021. I got accepted to do EPT Cups. I started playing. I took 5 years off from StarCraft due to getting my undergrad and my master's, and I came back to it with Katowice 2019, so early 2020 with the pandemic. And now here I am, multiple days on the mainstream at DreamHack. I have another tournament, big tournament that I'll be doing. The talent that's going to be announced in 5 days, June 15th. As we will see now, Time is going to get another base. And hopefully I'll be doing mainstream for Valencia as well. Like I can't believe it's a freaking year and a half that I've gone from nobody to being able to cast on the mainstream. And that is just ridiculous to me. And like, this is not me humble bragging. This is me just being, I am so grateful to people like Steadfast and Sushi and who's the owner of Alpha X and everything else that has just given me these opportunities to do this and accomplish. It leaves me at a loss for words. But Hellion's now on the upper side. There we go. Drop us. Come on, Time. You have a scan. Time, you have a scan. But he's just going to morph into Hellbats and run on forward and try to kill what he can. But that's just it. The single G. Time, he takes a 2-0. And now Kaizi Gaming, they find their way 3-1. All right, so on the bottom right side of your screen, it is Nice. And the upper left in the red, he is Reynor. Yeah, no worries, Grumpage. I'm like, what? Football? I don't know of any football, like American football competitions. But we got to point out, by the way, in this game, that Reynor, massive favorite. He's playing at 500 milliseconds ping for whatever reason. The servers were being ornery. So we do need to pay attention to that. That is something that is going to be maybe not the best for Reynor. So he messaged me. I'm in his Discord. And he's like, hey, Bale, remember, don't judge me too harshly. 500 milliseconds ping for game 1. So we're gonna have to see what happens with that. I'm told the games get clowny in a glorious way. Raynor's confidence on that graphic would break through the screen like poke me in the eye. It's like not even 2-dimensional, just go 3D. But yeah, no, soccer robots are still a heavy field of research, like just as a humanoid robot demonstrator. But I don't really care about that. I want space robots, Arctic robots. That's what I care about. Okay. What do we got going off in this game now? We got to talk about this a little bit, what we're expecting to see. Yeah, I said Reynor 500 milliseconds ping. Okay. Also, Nice is a Skytoss enjoyer. He's one of the few Protoss players left that, given his druthers, he's just going to go double Stargate Void Ray every single game. He's going to force us to win a 50-minute game. And I was worried that I wouldn't get enough stream out of this. I was worried we wouldn't go like a full 4 hours. But Nice is playing. Nice is playing PvZ. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. But as much as I really did not like the 2 Stargate meta, it felt derivative. It felt uninteractive, and it did not feel like it was giving either side an opportunity for skill expression. So how far do we have to go to get back into game? All right, I think we're there. We go, back into game. Felt uninteractive. It didn't, but the big thing is it did not feel like it gave players skill expression. Oh, hey, I'm going to hit a timing really nicely. Sure, I'm going to walk with queens, and my transfuses are going to be nice, but that's kind of almost the bare minimum we expect out of pro players. Like, can you hit a build? Can you play a build properly? Can you transfuse queens? Whereas this new style, which I don't know that Nice is going to play it or not. He's going Oracle first, but it's not, he's not going Void Rays. He's Nice. This allows for so much skill expression on both sides because it is low-tech units for so long. And actually, interesting discussion is the Adepts now they're going to shade into the kind of on the ramp, which does make it a little bit harder for the Queens to chase this down, for the Lings to deal with right now. And again, we're seeing Reynor struggle a little bit from 500 milliseconds. So do not judge him for not getting good surrounds here. Do not judge him for these Adepts getting on. Ping is ping is ping, and it is a powerful thing. But it's funny. So we talk about what do we think about, or not what do we think about? Universally, the best matchup in StarCraft 2. It is known to be, it is seen as TVZ, as the Lings find their way to the other side, but with an Oracle, with a 2 Fs, not get allowed. Nice scout though. It says, okay, 4 minute, 345-ish Nexus, but it looks like Nice actually is gonna go for the Enlightened Protoss, as it were. That's what Scarlet calls it, at least. And I enjoy the name, so we're gonna keep going with it. Yeah, literally, the photo is fixed, but Reynor's still singing and bopping. But as this game goes on just a little bit, I'm really curious to see what direction Nice goes for this. So we went triple Oracle, which does delay your blink a little bit. According to Scarlet, at least, the true modern, like, bleeding edge PvZ right now is you actually get a quicker Twilight, and you go and you get 540 blink, you delay your and you delay your +1 a little bit. Now, of course, the hero style, the older 2 weeks old, 3 weeks old style is you get triple Oracle. You find a little bit more value that way. You're more active on the map, and you get blink and done +1 at the same time. Now, we've started to see some Zerg builds learn to punish that style where you can hit with a Roach Max, and because blink and +1 are slower, they're able to run it. They're able to build up while that pressure should be happening if you don't get perfect pressure with the Oracles. And then they run across the map right as the Zerg wants, or right as the Protoss wants to get active, and then it's like, oh, great. There's too much here. Doesn't always work, and we've seen some fantastic holds from like Skillis and Hero against that version, but that seems to be the way they're looking to deal with that. That actually does not work nearly as well against the Enlightened Protoss, or I mean, this is all Enlightened Protoss, but against the earlier Blink style, because it just means the Stalkers find their way on the map earlier, they put more pressure on, they pair things away, and they make it harder for the Zerg to get that max out. But for now, Reynor doing a fantastic job pushing his creep on the high ground, building himself a highway for whatever type of pressure he does want to put on. 5 gates now coming down for Nice as well, as you get +1 blink, both about halfway down. They'll be done right around that 7-minute mark. And question now, does Reynor take that 4th, or does he sit on 63 odd workers and just hit the button? I don't see him opening up a ton of supply right now, only 1 Overlord, but adding more in. We're going to have to see where he looks to go from here. Now, Nice also setting up a bit of pressure with the pylon on the high ground. We've seen this in a couple different ways from Zergs, or from Protoss with this new style. Some of it is, okay, it's just going to be for weapons. You know, I don't have a Warp Prism just yet. I've skipped the Robo to get everything else out. It's just for weapons. Some have actually dropped shield batteries, and even with it being 50 energy instead of 100, still finding value there, and some drop gateways for best weapons. It's going to be interesting to see, as now we're going to see one queen get targeted, but even with 500 milliseconds of lag, it will stay alive a little bit. Stalkers of Nice arrive now. Roaches on the right side, actually a little bit segmented off here. Reynor taking this fight, really not the best, but he is building more and more roaches here, which is kind of funny, actually, because roaches are decent, sure. But because this style is so focused around Blink Stalkers and +1 Blink Stalkers, I feel like what we're missing, and yeah, getting into high drilling beam this quickly is kind of hard. There we go. Okay, I was right. Shield, I'll take it. Shield battery's coming down. Files, ooh, does land actually. And Reynor's taking a decent fight right now, not really allowing Nice to stay on creep too long. But anyway, with these Stalker heavy styles, it does feel like Lings are more like +1 melee. Lings would be more of the answer, because again, just +1. Already doing bonus damage to armored units. They shred roaches. They do such a good job against roaches. No, Reynor doesn't have the ping deficit. Reynor is the one suffering from the ping deficit. So he plays with his feet to, you know, make it okay. With 500 milliseconds ping and playing with his feet, the game is even enough. Got it. Well done. Okay, I understand, Chris. But okay, Roach is on the other side because Reynor feels really confident on the defense. Probe's all pulled into a corner, but he's just doing so much damage. So now, Nice blinking on top of things. He says, well, your army's on the other side. Let's try to make something happen here. Good transfuses keeping the army alive, but the Stalkers are just mowing on through everything that Reynor holds dear in this game. Oracle's adding additional damage. The Bile's actually going to land a little bit, but Reynor has almost... Reynor is somehow up 62 army supply, but it really does not feel like that. I guess a lot of it is in production. A lot of it is on the other side of the map, killing off this third base of Nice. But Reynor, he's only a 3-base Zerg, so even if he loses that hatch, and it's still going to be fine here for Nice. He's going to blink backwards, just killing roaches and killing roaches and killing roaches. But as Reynor returns home, that's when things start to get scary. That's when we got to start to get really worried, because it's not a lot of Stalkers anymore. Nice does not have a lot of money to rebuild, and there's only one stasis trap. It has been triggered. So now Nice is going to have to play this dangerous game of rotating left and rotating right and dealing with both armies on both sides of his emplacement. And that's scary. Well, I mean, don't worry, Chris. Whenever I try to dance, I have 2 left feet. So it's valid. It's okay. But now, okay, I guess there is a second stage trap. We're just trying to find their way into the natural area. This is the oddest version of this game I've seen. Of this build matchup I've seen, but it seems to be working out for Reynor pretty damn well. It felt like Nice took a really good fight, as the stage trap's actually doing a fantastic job. But it felt like Nice took a really good fight around the third. He didn't even kill the third, really. He was so desperate to win the game. But this run by from Reynor has just done so gosh darn much. 42 probes going down, actually, even less. 37 probes for Nice. He's lost the third base. He can't really deal with the roaches. There's a Void Ray out now, I guess. And, well, this is looking real bad here for Nice. Reynor doubling the supply. The Warp In potential is now gone. He's going to lose Gateway as well. But Void Rays Oracles, they arrive, and they're going to do something. But actually, Void Rays are out of energy, so it's only one Oracle that takes some damage. And yeah, maybe the Void Ray is going to be a saving grace. But yeah, no, it's not going to be enough. Reynor fights through the ping, fights through the shenanigans. He takes game 1. And that does now secure Kaizi a victory in this week. Is rather self-conscious, was very self-conscious about his accent. So he took me making a joke about, he said, I think at one point he said, I'm a liar. And I'm like, oh, you're an old musical instrument. That's cool. It's like, oh. And he took that to be making fun of his accent, where no, like in American English, a liar and a liar are pretty much pronounced the same, or a fan and a fan. You know, it's the fans that win. Oh, what's the win-loss rate differential of a circular fan versus a ceiling fan? You know, mistake on my part, but I thought it was funny. But I should have understood the potential of him taking that as making fun of his accent more than appreciating the fun. I got too distracted by spending a solid 30 minutes talking about bird facts with cats the first day I did. That was fun though. But now we're in Hardwire game 2. Funnily enough, this is Nice's map pick, and one would normally expect long maps, big maps. to be Zerg favored. Not Big Macs. You can tell I'm hungry. Although I don't like McDonald's, so why would that be a Freudian slip? Anyway. But Nice is a SkyToss player. We talked about this in the last game. SkyToss players do benefit from longer maps, from choked out maps, from maps that the Zerg can't just go across the map and kill them all that easily. So, or quite as easily. So that's what we see Nice pick in this one. I hate McDonald's. Fast food in general is Nice is gonna fake a cannon rush. I don't know how much Reynor buys this. He's gonna send one drone down. It's like, oh, do you commit to this? Then I'll send the rest of the drones. But yeah, no, there's not a cannon rush. Cancel that pylon there. Nice, cheeky man. Yeah, hey, Walrus Commissar, how's it going? No, if I'm gonna get a burger, I mean, burgers are not the healthiest things, but I work out 6 days a week. I eat healthy, and sometimes you want a burger. I hear cats fighting outside my window. Not Cats the Caster, but I hear cat fight outside my window. It's fun. Yeah, there was a kebab place outside of my, like, 10 feet away from my dorm when I was an upperclassman in my undergrad, and it was on my way back from Quidditch practice on Sundays. Yes, Cats is actually sitting right next to me, making exactly. You can see a little bit of fur on the side, but there was a doner kebab place, and it was on my way back from the sports field where we would practice on Sundays back home. And you know, Quidditch sounds like this nerdy sport. Maybe it is to some, but we played because we really enjoyed the sport, and it was I mean, it plays like a mixture of rugby and basketball. Blink twice if Cats is stalking me. And it was on the way back, so I'd get like this, you know, big doner kebab. Oh, so good. There's like no doner around here whatsoever. I live in the middle of nowhere, New Hampshire. I'm getting my PhD at Dartmouth. But this ling flood this ling pressure from Reynor looking out fairly nice before the oracles are out, because Nice, of course, did go for Void Ray first, which means the lings actually find something. They were able to delay the building of this third base. They're going to try to dive on top of the depth. They're going to kill that off, and here come the rest of the lings. So this actually is a base. There's not enough defense here right now. This is going to be a delayed third base from Nice for effectively a second time. I don't know if he got the base up the first time. I don't remember, but certainly the probe died. So Nice, he's going to have a 4:15-ish third base. That's going to be 30 seconds later than he would like it to be. I have no idea, Grumpage. But oh, again, the lings, they're going to try to find value with the oracles and the void rays, though. That's going to be enough. So we're fine. Okay. I'm always a big fan of, well, first of all, you know, tempos stuff when I'm Grandmaster. You know what should happen? Frost Giant's not here anymore, unfortunately. Oh, first of all, Grumpage, I'm curious what you sent them an email about. Like, are you going to be producing content with them? That'd be pretty cool. I don't know what you do, but did we get Tempo back from retirement to make Frost Giant songs, or to make Stormgate songs? Because, you know, when I'm a Grandmaster, I will play faster. It's an absolute bop. There are rumors that I've seen, like, rumors that make me think Cheesadelphia is coming back on Twitter, like Joe Lagudici and someone else posting pictures of cheese, like cheese trophies and whatever. It makes me think it might come back. And if so, I hope I can work it this time, because hanging out with Tempo just sounds like a lot of fun. And Philadelphia is only like 5 hours by car, so it's certainly viable for me. Nice, though. He is going full SkyToss. 2 void rays on the way at a time, +1 air on the way, or yeah, +1 air on the way as well. And the question is, how is Reynor going to look to deal with this right now? Baneling Nest on the way, +1 melee on the way, lots of lings. We're not seeing much of a transition into anything that deals with air. But of course, he's Reynor, and he honestly, he could probably make his Zerglings fly if he wanted to. So we're gonna have to see what he wants to go for. He's just swelling lings on 57 workers. He's only on 2 gas, just enough for the upgrades and for Banelings. Oh yeah. You talk about accuracy. We got a Baneling bus coming in from Reynor. I mean, the clan war is over, but you still won the map score there, Reynor. Zerglings find their way on into the third base here. Shield Batter Overcharge gets popped, and here come the Banelings. Where do they go, though? Are they into the third base? Are they into the natural? Baneling speed is not even started. Lair is not even started, but the Banelings causing problems here. They're going to knock down, actually not a lot, but they're going to knock down pylons. That's the really big deal. Shield Batter Overcharge does find itself depowered. Lings swarming here, flooding in. More and more probes are starting to fall, but it's only 2 right now. Void Ray is actually doing a great job killing the Lings. You don't think about it, but when we're sitting at 6 voids, 5 voids, that's a bit of a problem. You do kill Lings decently enough. Oh man, the coral piece, I don't know that they're going to be able to quite accomplish what StarCraft did, just because Frost Giant has a $30 million budget for Stormgate, and I don't even know what Blizzard had. I mean, StarCraft 2 was one of the highest grossing, certainly the highest grossing RTS of all time, but was one of the highest grossing games of all time for a while. One of the biggest launches of all time. Banelings look to roll in, just knocking down static defense. It makes this base more vulnerable over and over again as Lings try to find their way to the natural. Unsuccessful there. Reynor's just playing memes. 100 million for wings. You know, I'd buy that, honestly. This is such a meme. I love it. Reynor, he's trying to kill his Skytoss opponent with a Ling Bane Queen. And it's not really working just yet, but it doesn't mean it won't. But the choral pieces, I believe maybe that music came out with Legacy. I'm not sure where, but they have some. There's some music in StarCraft that is just that almost kind of reminds me of the Halo chorus. And oh, give that to me. I definitely listen to that more than I should. But okay, so Zerglings now they're gonna nice trying to take this 4th base. Zerglings are gonna find the stag defense before it is fully up and operational. Shield Battery Recharge is actually doing a really good job here of keeping the cannons alive, and we're gonna see the spawning pool goes down. You go mass Ling and you can't build any Lings. That's a little bit of a problem. But now here the Queen's walking. We're gonna see the 4th base go down here. We're gonna see the base go down here as well. A couple spores are not gonna be enough to keep this base alive, so it's gonna be 1 for 1. And I think we're going to see another base fall for Reynor as well, because the Queens are on the other side of the map. More and more Banelings morphing. It looks like, there we go. Creep is starting to get popped here. Creep is starting to get dropped. We will be able to see transfuses. And actually, these interceptors are not coming out together. They're coming up 1 by 1. So we're seeing them die as well. Good transfuses on the hatch, but it's not going to be... It will. He recalled. He didn't get the base, and that is actually such a big deal for Reynor, because now it's not as bad. Now he lost the hatch. Sure, he lost the spawning pool. That's actually a really big thing. Can't make more Queens, can't make more Lings. But at least he has the production. At least he has the mining. So all of these things are fantastic. His Lings burrowing their way through. The static defense on the backside. Queens on the front side. They're causing problems. Okay, so now, I mean, the Queens are dead. A nice, he lost 9 workers and he lost the base, but his army still remains eminently powerful. I think Reynor maybe breaks that if he had a spawning pool. Yeah, it was the transfuses, Grumpage. It was one of those things where it's like it's almost down, but thick beams or prismatic alignment was finished, and you had to go back and defend, and you don't really know how many. He thought he had it timed down, he didn't. I'm actually so excited that that Stormgate will be on. I believe I saw something about Epic Games Store. I'm not sure, but it will be on Steam at the very least, which is massive for exposure. And if it's going to be on Epic Games Store as well, that would be even better. But now the Void Rays return. They say, we missed this one last, and another transfuse. Oh no, more transfuses, but they do get it. Okay, a Void Ray does die in exchange, but Cyberjohn, what are you talking about standing castrations? I'm confused. I don't think I said that. And I'm really worried now. Oh, but Protoss needs a door. Lings are going to find their way on into the natural here, into the main base as well, starting to nip away at things. We're going to see the 4th base fall for a second time. Standing casting? I'm sitting right now. I do have a standing desk. Okay, so 10 workers have died. Oh, that's Naruto's pylon. Oh, only Steam is confirmed. Okay, I thought I saw something about Epic Games Store, but grain of salt. I can't find it on their website, so... Anyway, Lings are just shredding things here. Hive is on the way as well, so eventually these are going to be adrenal gland Lings, but for now, Uh, well, we're seeing 16 probes go down. The fourth base is dying. Eventually, Baneling speed. Oh, no. I'm just sitting in a relaxed scenario as we... I'm just like this. I'm like, hey, I guess that's what's going. I mean, it's a matter of efficiency. What I can't believe is not that they don't exist, because you always have matters of efficiency, and you eventually kill enough pylons, and one will be an Artosis pylon. What I can't believe is we still call it an Artosis pylon 12 years later. We haven't just gone away from that. Artosis has not been able to escape the meme. I do think the Artosis curse has lapsed in recent years. In popularity, that is less of a meme. But that's also because we're seeing Tastosis less at foreign events. As, ooh, good stasis trap, but now Banelings come crashing on into the main base in the natural. As again, the Lings, they're going to find the static defense. They're going to find the fourth base for a umpteenth time, and time just looks frustrated. He's like, this should not... I have so many carriers. I have +2. Oh, big shot. 20 workers die. He's like, I have so much stuff. This should not be happening. I should be in a good spot this game. And he has 100 army supply. Like, if he's ever allowed to run across the other side of the map, I don't know how Reynor stops him. But Ling Bane's a meme, and it's working out for Reynor. Absolutely. Yes. Grumpage. I said if he has time to run across the map, but I do appreciate the meme, so thank you. I did that to Steadfast yesterday, so I suppose I deserve it. Oh, okay. So how many queens is this? +2 armor, just about done. It takes a lot of oomph out of the Void Rays and out of the 26 queens and some spores. You're not breaking this nice. Banelings come crashing. The Banelings might even be able to kill that next. I'm not totally sure whether they have enough DPS, but Queens now here. One thing you got to worry about is the Queens. They don't want to get all kind of segmented off, and now we're starting to see the production PC die because there's a lot of Queens and a lot of Interceptors all being released on out here. But mass transfuses from Reynor are good. We have Infestors out, but no Microbial Shroud just yet, and all the Interceptors are running down. Infestors just running forward. They're saying, hey, look at me. It's like the kid flossing in front of the news camera. They're like, oh, look at me. I'm doing something. Where they're really not doing much of anything. But the Queens, they do stand strong. Interceptors are falling down, and there's really not a lot left in this Skytoss army. Not really. I mean, there's a lot of bulk here, and it's going to take a while for the Queens to kill it. They don't have any attack upgrades, but Nice is just spending money that he truly does not have. He's mining less than 1,000 minerals a minute. There's Microbial Shroud going down, so now these last Queens certainly should not fall. And Ling's on the other side of the map. The third base is dead. The fourth base will die pretty damn soon. They're going to burst into the natural as well. More Queens are arriving. Here's the Spores reposition. And, I mean, it's something. It's something. The Tempest are still standing pretty strong. They do have +3. 5 Tempest, 1 shot of Queen, so there's that. But are you really going to win this base trade nice? Are you really going to punch through enough of Reynor by the time he just eats you? No, you're not. Nice, he falls down. Reynor wins beats late game Skytoss with literally just upgraded Lings and some Queens. We can't ignore the Queen.